be quelled. What is democracy?
Free speech.
Democracy is
Free speech.
Democracy is
Free speech.
Democracy is
Free speech.
Democracy is
Free speech.
We will not be quelled.
We will not be quelled. We will not be quelled.
Trash M103.
Trash M103. Trash M103.
We will not be quelled. Okay, thank you for you passionate patriots here. Suffragettes.
I would like to add something.
Absolutely, step up to the podium.
I would just like to say, we want it mandatory that doctors report female genital mutilation. We want statements issued by the government of what they're going to do if they find people doing this horrible, barbaric practice. We want our girls protected in this country.
Yes. And we want those statistics to be made public.
Yes.
We don't want these things just going on under the radar. We want to know where and when, even if it's a suspicion of it.
Yeah, it is horrible and barbaric, and if you don't know about it, do the research, Canada, because it's coming here.
Right.
It's already here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's already here.
Yeah.
It's already here?
It's already here.
Has there been any reports?
You want to answer that, Lynn? Oh,
Yeah.
Two cases?
Happening.
I know in America, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
well, they do send
All right.
some of our girls outside the
Yes,
country
they
as well.
go out of the country and they come back a different, demoralized girl. Okay, thank you, patriots, for responding to the call of duty and taking a necessary stand for our country. It's women, and most sacredly, the children of tomorrow. We need to stand for our people's rights and freedoms. As you are all aware, 3 weeks ago, April 9th, the 100th year anniversary of Vimy Ridge, ironically, at the Community Voice Forum event, Bob Delaney, whose office we are standing in front of here, and his friend and his co-queller, Ikra Khalid, tried to disrespectfully silence me, a reborn suffragette sister, against silence. So today, I thought we could come and deliver Mr. Bob a necessary, mindful message directly, this time unfettered by a swarming of aggressive, angry men. Mr. Bob, you said that evening that your grandfather fought in a war. As you did not clarify which war, I'm left to believe that your grandfather fought the good fight. Like us, standing on the right side of history and fought defending freedom. You claimed that I was desecrating his memory. How could that be, Bob, when I'm fighting the good fight as a suffragette with my sisters against silence, defending freedom and standing against inhumanities towards women and girls especially? Bob, do you not have daughters, nieces, mother, a sister, or a wife? Do you not understand the simple fact that silencing accusers enables abusers? I asked you if you would stand with us on June 30th for our first National Suffragette Day. You and Ikra Khalid, I asked, and it would be nice to have Monsef and the other Liberal members of Parliament there with us at the Kingston Mill Locks and help commemorate the memory of the 3 Shafia girls who, along with their stepmother, were killed by their brother and father, plunged into Lake Ontario in their car in 2009, and even more heinously, their own mother was complicit in their deaths, she being the second wife and cousin in a polygamous marriage to their father, and also remembering girls like Aska Pervez, a young 16-year-old Canadian girl strangled for not wearing her hijab, also killed by her brother and father, just like the Shafias, all killed for becoming too westernized. Also on April 9th, you attempted to silence me, Bob, a woman speaking out in defense of women and girls' rights, and the distressing implications of M103. Do you remember that sign, Bob? Against our safety and our security, and its most threatening impact upon females like the Shafia sisters and Aska Pervez, our sisters, our nieces, our mothers, our sisters. Sadly, to the memory of all soldiers throughout our rich cultural ancestral history, you made no attempt to address my concerns, but attempted to silence me. I have now, in the aftermath of over 230,000 views of this event, taken the liberty to get to know you, Bob, a bit better. On your website, you have stated that in reflecting on the 100th centennial anniversary of Vimy Ridge, where Canadian soldiers fought, that your own thoughts return to the headstones of young men in their late teens and early 20s, in whose presence you felt so welcome that cool evening in Vimy when you visited, that you could imagine some of them in the hereafter elbowing a spiritual buddy while looking down at the ceremony and saying to one another, "See, I told you it would all be worth the effort." Well, you see, Bob, we share these same sentiments. And this presence you feel is the same one I reflect upon and know the Suffragette spiritual sisters will be looking down on all of us today and every day as we stand fighting in the defense of freedom. On days like today and on June 30th, the first National Suffragette Day, marking the 8th anniversary of the Shafia's murder, and standing in defiance against the weapon of silence, intimidation, and bullying that repeatedly struck at the Shafias and Aska Pervez before their short lives came to violent ends and their voices were quelled forever. We will also show our honor and our respect to our Canadian suffragette soldiers' courage and bravery as they fought for over 70 years, starting in the UK and then in Canada, for our right to vote. Are you aware, Bob, that next year, May 24th, will mark the 100th anniversary of the first time Canadian women across the nation participated in voting in the national federal election, and the day our great, and I say that great as in significant greatness, managed to successfully win the case of personage, the famous Canadian legal case that took place between 1927 and 1929, where women became recognized as persons under the law and gaining true equality under the law.
Wow.
You see, Bob, we've come a long way, baby.
And we're not going to let you take us back.
Amen, that's right.
Not regrets.
And we will ensure that suffragettes and Canadian soldiers will look down in pride for all their selfless acts for posterity's sake. And seeing us fellow freedom fighters, like we have out here today, they will see our glowing hearts and say to themselves, "See, I told you it would all be worth it," as we stand in defense of women and girls' rights, freedom, and dignity. Please excuse my outburst the other evening, Bob, but the whining and complaining by the Muslims in that room was nauseating. And the other liberal chauvinists. I have to wonder why these women have left the severe, barbaric disciplines of their home countries to live in unregimented free countries such as our Canada. The liberal chauvinism was so thick in that room, it was suffocating. I thought the event was community voices, that you might be interested to hear my input as a reborn suffragette. But after experiencing the intimidation and aggressive cornering and corralling, I swiftly realized that you had little patience for my input, opinion, nor concerns, and that your so-called diversity agenda is but a very shallow, superficial veneer that quickly transitions to anger when someone like myself dares to express a diverse, differing point of view.